1,000 direct victims in exchange for life in prison, avoiding the death penalty. The decision sparking outrage from many.
ABC's Whit Johnson. Tensions rising in the Middle East. The U.S. sending more forces to the region, preparing for a potential escalation. ABC's Matt Rivers, Tel Aviv.
This entire country really is bracing for what's to come from Iran and its proxies after Israel's assassination of key Hezbollah and Hamas leaders earlier this week. And we know so too is the United States preparing, with the Department of Defense announcing that it is both repositioning and adding military assets in this part of the world to help defend Israel against any retaliation.
Democrats taking the final steps towards officially making Vice President Harris their presidential nominee less than 2 weeks after President Biden stepped aside in the race. You're listening to ABC News.
A hearing to determine if a Claremont County man charged with the murders of his 3 sons would be eligible for the death penalty has been delayed.
Chad Dorman is charged with multiple counts of murder for the shooting deaths of his children, ages 3, 4, and 7, in the front yard of the family's Monroe Township home last June. He's pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. The hearing on death penalty eligibility has been scheduled for August 5th, but will be rescheduled at the request of both the prosecution and defense. I'm Rob Bailey.
Tuesday's the first day Ohioans can legally buy recreational marijuana. The Ohio Division of Cannabis Control has told a number of medical marijuana dispensaries they now have a permit allowing them to also sell to anyone over 21. Pete Nisht of Clutch Cannabis says the state did a great job in speeding up early sales of marijuana.
It's even more exciting because it's happening, more than a month ahead of schedule in terms of the statutory deadline that was outlined in Issue 2.
He says for now, most of the dispensaries that handle both recreational and medical marijuana will be essentially selling the same products with and without a prescription. However, Nisht says smokable marijuana was not available as a medical product, but will eventually be available for recreational use. Come Labor Day, one of Cedar Point's wettest rides will dry up.
The Snake River Falls boat ride will be permanently closing after soaking guests for 31 seasons. The park says it was decided to close the water ride to make way for a future expansion. Snake River Falls debuted in 1993 as the tallest, steepest, and fastest water flume ride in the world. According to Cedar Point's website, standing 82 feet above Frontier Town, nobody had ever seen anything like it. When asked what the new expansion is going to be, the amusement park's Director of Communications, Tony Clark, said, "Of course we can't tell you that. Yet." I'm Andy Betts.
And I'm Brian Engel.
Your latest news, traffic, and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale and clearance. Save up to 60% on a wide selection of quality mattresses at every price. Plus, score a free adjustable base with a qualifying purchase. Hurry and stop by Mattress Firm today.
Meet Greg Taylor of LegacyRetirementGroup.com.
My mom and dad were hard-working people. My dad's passed, but mom's still at it and keeping me on my toes.
Love it.
But they said, we want you to have a positive outlook in life. We want you to hope for the best. But Greg, we want you to be realistic. We want you to plan for the worst. But here's the problem. If you're invested solely in the stock market, you better hope for the best, because if the worst happens, you can run out of money in retirement.
More next hour with Winning Retirement Radio on WTVN.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and I'm proud to announce our newest dealership, Germain Volkswagen of Westerville, is now open. We're excited to be a part of the Westerville community and have a one-of-a-kind dealership that was built to make you feel welcome when visiting. Whether you're purchasing a new vehicle or getting yours serviced, you'll find that the design and convenience of our facility right on Polaris Parkway was built with you in mind. To take advantage of grand opening inventory on every Volkswagen model available, stop by at the corner of Polaris Parkway and Worthington Road, or get started today at GermainVW of
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of On Target from LAPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road. Eric, he's not here, but I am. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or maybe just peering through the windows outside, this scraggly young fellow sitting next to me is the unseen. I think you're usually unseen. I think you're always unseen. I'm pretty sure. Don't push do you have a license to push buttons here? You don't push buttons in this building.
I'm the one who pushes buttons on your show.
This is Zach, the guy who's usually producing for the Blazer show and for my show, and he showed up here today, and I said, hey, yeah, go ahead, sit down, do something. And so the first thing he does is push buttons. So anyway, Eric's not here. The studio audience represented by roughly 800 people. And we're always happy to see them, especially Tom, because he brings the donut holes. First thing I need to tell you is that if you have been considering, see, I don't think Eric does this enough, and he owns the joint. He doesn't talk about the stuff they have to sell. So we have this tax-free holiday going on. It used to be about school supplies, but now it apparently involves a whole bunch of stuff, including dining out and things like that. Also, purchases that you and yours might make here at LEPD Firearms and Range. So, if you've been looking to purchase and thinking, how can I save a little bit of money? No sales tax during the sales tax holiday, which is a wonderful thing, and that does apply here. If you want to come up, feel free to do so. They've got some, the new stuff. There's all kinds of new stuff. Some used firearms, lots of peripherals, cleaning supplies, even some wonderful little decals over there. I have a tendency to buy some of those when I'm in here. But it's an opportunity for you to, if you're spending a few $100s, 7.5% off, that's a good day. So feel free to do that, 999 Bethel Road. One of the things that Eric and I were talking about this week, give me this. This new bodyguard. I have not typically been a 380 guy, but Eric is raving about this. They just told me they sold the last one. They're expecting some new ones in this coming week. This would also be covered under the sales tax holiday. It comes with two magazines, a 10 and a 12. Eric is telling me, and I can't put it in my hand and show you in my hand today, but he said this thing is so wonderfully small, if you are a concealed carry person, that he's like, you got to come look at it. And you know how he gets. So I wanted to look at one today, and they don't have any more, but should have some in the coming week. If you're thinking about something especially, something not really noticeable, that is something you may want to consider. I'm looking forward to actually touching it, feeling it, seeing what it's like in my hands. I've always been because I'm a big guy, always been very worried about not having something large enough, having a grip that's large enough. I want to fill that space. I usually have an extended magazine for just that reason. This may fit the bill, and it's not as heavy as what I'm used to carrying. Also, something I wanted to do is tell you the phone number, which Eric also doesn't do very often, 614-821-9886, 614-821-WTVN, or 1-800-610-WTVN. If there's any question you have that we might be able to answer, feel free. JC not with us either. He's usually the news guy. I would come to Zach for news, but I'm smarter than that. So I will tell you. I will tell you, JC did send me some stories. Some of the most encouraging are also some that I'm the most skeptical about. The Kamala Harris campaign, Kamala, whatever. Apparently walking back some of her previous remarks. And I don't know if you're on social media, if you guys float around the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the Twitters, and all that stuff. She has been very adamant in the past about especially the AR-15 platform. She and what's-his-face, Beto, whatever. He said, hell yes, we're coming for your AR-15s. He said it straight out. She has been pretty much in lockstep with that until now because she wants to be your president. Yeah, it's going to happen. So her campaign is walking those remarks back. Take it with a grain of salt, my friends, because it means nothing as far as I'm concerned. You're going to see a lot of that in the coming week, though, because she's going to try to cozy up to guns or gun owners or gun manufacturers. At the same time that she and her campaign are walking it back, you should also know that there are renewed commitments to spend a whole bunch of money on the other side from her buddies. The Giffords Foundation says they're going to, bump up $15 million, I believe. Of course, Bloomberg is in, so they've got about $60 million accounted for between the two of them to lobby for her presidential bid. It is not what she says is what she needs to say to try to get elected. don't believe a word of it. That's just my personal advice to you. We've seen politicians in previous times that were not nearly as contentious as these times, who will lie and say whatever it takes to get a vote. And now more so than ever, they are going to lie and do whatever it takes to get a vote. And now more so than ever, you need to be skeptical of everything that comes out of their mouth. And I don't care what their party is, what their gender is, or it doesn't matter. Everybody lies in 2024 to get what they want. So believe what you see, not what you hear.
I don't believe she's actually lying. I think she's unburdened by what may have been and what may have come later.
I'm turning off your mic.
Okay.
I don't even want you. I wish we had that sound bite. Is that the actual quote? To be unburdened by what has...
To be unburdened by what might have been.
Yes.
I don't know. I forget the rest.
It's one of the most profound things she's ever said, and
she repeats it
over and over again. She said it, and that's floating around out there right now as well. ATF took a kick in the teeth this past week again because the trigger resets are not machine guns, as the court had decided. So this has now been they're not, just like bump stocks are not guns, the trigger resets are not machine guns. There's a little logic coming out of the court decisions lately. So I'm again not encouraged. Let's see what we see, not just what we hear. But that is something that is I think it's going to the Chevron decision, a lot of you heard about 3 weeks ago, has kind of changed things, because it says, if you take the translation, not verbatim, but for the overall legal meaning, laws are created by Congress. And these various agencies, especially during COVID, that decided to write their own laws and get them enforced, overstep their bounds. And I think we're going to see more and more of these decisions coming out. The court in this case found that the ATF had acted beyond its statutory authority in redefining the FRTs as machine guns. Judge emphasized only Congress has the power to change a statutory definition. The ruling referenced the Administrative Procedure Act, highlighting that ATF's actions violated the federal statute by overstepping regulatory boundaries, and the court issued a broad injunction preventing ATF from enforcing its classification of FRTs as machine guns. This includes halting criminal prosecutions and civil actions based on the now vacated definition. So it's one step at a time, not nearly as fast as we want it to be, but I see a little logic. In the city of Columbus, I hope everybody's happy. We had somebody stabbed last week. It wasn't a gun, so it's good, right?
Making progress.
In a gun-related story, did I actually give the advice? I told you I was going to give you the worst advice ever given, and I don't know if I ever got to that on the show the other night on the Power Hour.
I don't think you did, no.
Okay.
Even if you did, you need to reiterate
Here's the worst advice ever given, because it flies in the face of everything you are taught or in any corporate. Nobody who makes decisions will agree with what I'm about to tell you. But this guy was sitting at a shopping center out on Gender Road, southeast side, down close to Canal Winchester. And it was 92 degrees or what. A couple of guys in ski masks approach his car. Call me crazy. I think that's a danger sign. So the couple of guys in ski masks approach the car. One of them pulls the gun out, sticks it through the car window in his face. Now, if you listen to contemporary logic, give them what they want. Give them what they want and leave the scene as quickly as possible afterward. This guy grabbed the gun, took 2 rounds to the gut, 1 to the leg. Last I heard, he was in the hospital but alive. I'm proud of him. And I know, again, it flies in the face of what they tell you. You just give it up, let them go. And I think that's one of the reasons there are so many thems out there. Because they know, we've been told, give it up, let them go. A woman I was watching on my Facebook page yesterday was talking about being in a store on Sawmill Road Not any crappy neighborhood up on Sawmill Road. She and her daughter doing some shopping. A guy comes in, loads up on various name brand designer purses and all kinds, and walks out of the store. And she goes to check out. She asks the cashier, are the police on the way? Are they coming? And the cashier said, oh, no, we don't bother to call. Never? No, that's the second robbery today. And they know that, which is why there's so many of them. I was at a store about a month ago. I mean, the cash register is 8 feet from the entry and exit on this store. A guy comes in. In his case, he grabbed 2 bottles of Prestone, turned around and walked out. Thing beeping, lights going off. And I said, are you going to do it? She goes, oh, no, we don't do anything. They steal from us all the time. I said, then can you turn off the thing that's beeping and the flashing lights because it just annoys me? Why should I look at your light flashing and hear beep, 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 beep if nobody's going to do anything? And while I'm thinking about it, why am I paying for this stuff? If no police are going to be called, if no arrest is going to be, no complaint, nothing, why am I paying for this stuff? It's a wonderful question that nobody is ever going to answer for you because they want you to keep paying for stuff. But the fact of the matter is, unless we turn the train around, I don't care where the tracks are headed, unless we turn the train around, this is going to be more and more frequent, and eventually it will be normal. I groused not too long ago about my grocery store, where I've been going for decades. My father before me. One of my kids actually was a bagger there when he turned 16. And you have to show a receipt to exit the store with your groceries now. I won't do that. They said, well, it's our policy. I said, well, my policy will be at the other store down the road. Love the store. You know, decent prices, a consistent inventory. But I go in, I go to the cash register, I've got a cashier, I've got a bagger, because I won't go to the self-checkout either. I'm not getting the employee discount. You're cashing me out. So I've got the cashier, I've got the bagger, and I've got the supervisor of the cashier standing there at the register because the supervisor wants to talk to them when they're done with me. The security guard is at the end of the register. I pay for the stuff. They bag the stuff. I get 5 feet from the register, and the security guard says, I need to see your receipt. I said, why is that, brainwave? He said, well, it's store policy now. You can't leave without a receipt. I said, you just stood there and watched me check out and pay. Yeah, but it's our policy. You have to show a receipt to leave. We have to mark the receipt. It's the last time I was in the store. They're only doing it at 6 stores, as I understand it, in Central Ohio. But I'll never go to any of those 6 stores. The argument's been made, well, at Costco or Sam's Club, you show your receipt. I pay to be a member there. These are their terms and conditions for being a member. I said, I'm willing to accept that. Here's my fee. And I pay to be a member. I'm not paying to be a member of this grocery store. I'm not a thief. And quite frankly, while it may be unstylish, I resent being treated like I am. I'm sick of the bad guys taking what they want and walking out with no notice, no repercussion, nothing. And I have to prove I'm not a bad guy. But that's where we are. And that's what November is all about, people. You've seen what's happened over the last 4 years. Do you think it's going to get better if you keep going the same direction? Put the brakes on, turn the vehicle around, and go back to what made sense. Gas you could afford, a grocery cart you could fill up and not go broke for. It wasn't that long ago. And a lot of folks counter me with, well, the young voters. It'll be the young voters. They're the ones that'll make a difference. They'll get that vote out, and those young voters. Let me remind those young voters that your candidate on the Democrat side of the ticket said you're stupid. Go to my Facebook page. Look up Chuck Douglas on the Facebook page. The video's right there where Kamala, whatever, she said, those 18 to 24-year-olds, let me tell you about them. They're stupid.
She also advocated for raising the voting age to 25.
I didn't hear that. Because they're stupid?
Because they're stupid, yeah. So if you're 18, you got to be 25 to vote, and that's a discussion that we have to have.
Wow.
She said that, yeah.
Where's that audio? Give me that.
I'll find it. I'm not in the studio
You're
right now.
my producer. Would you produce something for once?
He's not allowed to press buttons.
Oh, my God. Oh, now I got Ella chiming in, too. That's great. I'm getting double teamed, but then again, I am a double team, so we're good with that.
Oh, no.
Ranting, raving, and filling in for Eric and the crew. I don't know where Ed is. I'm not sure, but not here would be the answer. And JC's got family stuff going on. And Eric, I'm pretty sure is cleaning his basement, but I don't know. There's no photographic proof of that. Nonetheless, you got me and the wonderful Zach by my side and the entire staff here at LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road. Plenty of inventory. Sales tax holiday does apply. If you want to come up here and buy yourself a beautiful firearm today, we will be back. More of On Target, continuing on 610 WTVN.
The Mark Blazer Show, Monday.
Did you see you have a caller?
I was busy talking. I didn't see I had a caller yet. No. I've never talked to them, have I? Don't turn your button off when I turn it on.
I turned it off for a reason. I didn't want it. It was making noise.
You're making noise. It's just picking it up.
But it's not. You touched your button, turning it off when you're doing the show.
How are you, by the way, Ella? I haven't talked to you in like 3 weeks.
I'm good. You doing any filling in around Labor Day?
Not that they told me yet.
Oh, well, I am, so.
What are you doing?
Campy.
Oh, really?
I'm campy Labor Day week.
Okay. Well, I don't know if Mike is taking that week off or not. He hasn't said anything to me yet.
All right. It'd be weird to be here all week with Mike. I've never done that.
Not only will it be weird, but not nearly as pleasurable as spending the week with me.
Right?
God, you don't ever say the right thing.
I agreed, though.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't argue, at least.
That's true.
Okay, so you have Eli on the phone, and we're back in 3 seconds with your weather.
Your ABC 6 first warning weather as we continue to move through this Saturday afternoon. Not pleasurable. Partly cloudy skies, muggy conditions. We should see a high about 84 today with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms throughout the afternoon on into the evening, and pretty much a ditto for tomorrow. A little more humid and a little hotter with a high around 87. I've got 81 showing right now at your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Columbus's news is on. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Is that Aerosmith? Jerry Spetterfield? That's okay.
Yeah.
Which is a sad thing, which I might as well say. Although he was possibly the second ugliest man in rock and roll.
Behind Keith Richards?
No, behind Mick Jagger.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Apologize.
You have
Jagger. What? Oh, wait. Hang on. The lady contingent back at the station is checking in here. Let me guess, Ella. You find Mick Jagger attractive?
I find both Mick Jagger and Steven Tyler attractive in an interesting way.
This is why we keep you in a little room by yourself.
I think that the majority, especially with Mick Jagger, I think the majority agrees with me. They have a similar look. They have a kind of similar look.
Yes, they look like lizards.
It's like, kind of. It's like when you see a supermodel, sometimes they're not the most conventionally attractive, but they're interesting looking, right?
Yes.
It's like that kind of thing, where like they're interesting, not in a totally unpleasing way.
She sounds like that old. Remember Bugs Bunny?
If an interesting monster can't have an interesting hairdo.
I always thought Steven Tyler kind of looked like the drunk aunt when she got older at a party. Like if you look at him,
he dresses a lot like somebody's drunk aunt these days.
Right.
But if you're wondering why are they even talking about this, it's because yesterday Aerosmith made the announcement. They're done. Steven Tyler had a vocal injury. He's been working with doctors. He's had some surgery, some therapy. And they said in their statement yesterday, it is obvious that Steven will not recover fully, and so we are done with the tour. So if you were one of those people chomping at the bit to get tickets for the final farewell and so forth, it will not be happening. They just absolutely pulled the plug yesterday. They specified touring. My guess is they may still do one more studio thing just for a last hurrah there. But, yeah, it's hard to believe. Aerosmith.
When did they start? Early 70s?
1972, I think it was.
Early 70s.
Yeah. Toys in the Attic. I remember buying that and wondering why people liked it as a kid. I'm like, I don't like this at all. And then, 15 years later, I liked it. But as a youngster, no, did not like that at all.
More importantly, who do you find to be the most attractive rock and roll star?
Keith Richards. Oh.
Males or females?
Males.
Wow. I'd have to see. I've got weird taste. Was it Millie or Vanilli?
I don't think they count.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I will give you an answer, though, before the end of the show, I promise. I've got just a couple of minutes here before we get to the bottom of the hour. And I did say if you had anything you needed to throw at us today, feel free to call 821-9886, 821-WTVN. Eli has apparently done that. So what's up, Eli?
Hey, so I was wondering about asking you guys about 3D printed guns and sort of your whole opinion on that. I'm 20 years old and looking into going into firearms design. And it feels like the entire world of firearms doesn't really acknowledge 3D printed guns very much for a lot of reasons, which I understand. And I was wondering what your opinion was.
On a personal basis, they scare me not because of what they are, but because of what we are. The material chosen to be the printing material, if it can get through the various screens and so forth, if it can be assembled as a jigsaw puzzle after getting through the TSA and you get on the airplane or something like that, because of human nature and the decline of us as a species, they make me very nervous. I love the technology. We're doing a 3D printed house right now in the Linden area. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I love the technology. But I am intimidated and worried for us because of what we do. I said the same thing about all this AI that's come out. We're just not responsible enough. We're like 16-year-olds that got our driver's license yesterday, and somebody just handed us the keys to a 700-horsepower Corvette. We're not ready for that yet.
I wonder if that could do anything with the Second Amendment in any way, shape, or form, because it's not a gun you buy from a licensed firearm dealer. It's something you made in your own house.
Well, but that doesn't matter. You can make it in your house.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
You
could
can
that
build
have any
your own
ramifications on anything?
Yeah, they may. I don't think there's an evil around every corner, but I think we as a species are we're too undependable and too evil. They make me nervous. Is that what you plan on concentrating on when you go into design? Do you want to come up with alternate material type weapons, or what's your goal?
Well, it's really the whole basis of the 3D printed firearm community that interests me the most is the fact that anyone can make it at their own house and sort of, I mean, yes, it's very scary that you don't have to fill out all these forms, do the background checks, all that sort of stuff, but I think it empowers people really to be able to understand how these technologies function. And I don't know. I am very much with you. I think the world is an evil place. I think already a lot of 3D printed firearms have been confiscated off the streets and things like that. But to me, it's here to stay. It's like Pandora's box. It's only going to get more and more proliferated as people realize how easy it is to do. I mean, you can buy gun parts off of any website,
right,
and then print out the receiver. And Glocks are very popular, AR-15s. People have made AK-47s. And, of course, with the FRT thing, this is why I called in, a lot of people are able to make 3D printed FRTs and bump stocks and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, to bastardize a product that already exists, much like that Glock switch, that's a big problem. I don't know how they are created, largely coming out of China, but they are pretty much specifically designed to convert a semi-automatic Glock pistol to fully automatic. So you blow through 17 rounds in a second and a half. You're not going to be very accurate, but you're going to be very dangerous. And that we have to worry about that too. Somebody who comes up with something on a 3D printed level that is completely wonderful and safe and practical, There's some idiot out there that's going to find a way to turn it into something it shouldn't be. And that, again, is our big problem. Eli, I'm at the bottom of the hour here. I got to run. I do appreciate the call. 821-9886, if you have one, by the way, 821-WTVN. Paul hit me on the text message here to remind you about the sales tax holiday, that there is a $500 limit. Here's what you make multiple purchases. Shh, I didn't say that. But, I mean, if you want to buy... You want to buy your paraphernalia, your weapons and so forth, under that $500 limit to get the sales tax holiday benefit, and especially if you're looking at something like this Bodyguard, which is under $500 with the 2 magazines, but out of stock right now, so you'll have to come in next week and do that. Bottom of the hour here. We will take a break. We shall continue with the Eric Free Edition. See, there should be a sound effect for applause right there. The Eric Free Edition of On Target from LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road on 610 WTVN.
iHeartRadio Olympics.
All right, we got 3.5 minutes. I will be right back. $45 seconds.
That's not nearly enough.
from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
No, it's not your host, Eric Delbert. It's your fill-in host, Chuck, because Eric's busy, and he doesn't love you as much as I do. Welcome back to On Target. I'm sorry. He's going to hit me. He's going to hit me so hard when he gets back. On Target from LEPD Firearms Range, 999 Bethel Road. We are here each and every Saturday, well, most Saturdays, at noon for this here show, which you can also catch on YouTube. You can also catch on Facebook. Both of those are video feeds. You can also listen online at 610WTVN.com or through iHeartRadio.com. And we love having you along if you don't have a radio. A couple of people have called up to ask a little more about this. This is the Bodyguard 2.0. It's a 380. Eric had me very interested, and they said, well, who makes it? I went with this assumption because I'm up here all the time listening to people go, Bodyguard, that's a Smith & Wesson logo, or a Smith & Wesson moniker. That is one of their products. This one comes with a 10 and a 12-round magazine. It is under the $500 threshold, nicely under the $500 threshold for the sales tax holiday going on in the state of Ohio. And yes, indeed, you do get a tax-free purchase on it. They should have some more coming in next week from what Jason told me. But he sold the last one in inventory this morning before I even got a chance to hold it because Eric's been telling me you really seriously have to hold on to this. I gave you some good news in the last half hour that JC had sent over. I held back on the bad news because, I don't know, because I'm sick of bad news, I guess. But Chicago, my kind of town. Chicago is not. The city has the most aggressive gun rights laws, or gun non-rights laws, I guess you would say, in the country. And their prohibition on owning or selling gun laser sights is going to stand. The laser sight's been in place, or ban has been in place in Chicago since 1999, among several municipal firearm regulatories that were challenged by firearms retailers in 2010. 14 years later now, U.S. District Court Judge Charles Corcus, I don't know, maybe it's Kamala, ruled Monday that the sites don't warrant Second Amendment protections. This is bothersome because bump stocks, in their opinion, warrant Second Amendment limitations. Some say extended magazines warrant limitations. But in this case, they ruled that protections aren't granted the same way to these laser sights. 14 years it took them to get to this.
Now, I got a question real quick.
Okay.
You're talking about Chicago.
It's right over there. It's the one with the guy on the door.
Do they have any crime there where people would need guns?
No, there's essentially no crime in Chicago.
I thought so. So I don't know why this
and
big kerfuffle about guns.
What little
there.
crime is committed is usually by people with high-end firearms using laser sights.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's the humor there is a sickening humor, but it is indeed true. However, Chicago's ban on laser sights does stand according to the federal courts right now. And I'm sure, after 14 years, I'm sure that will continue to be appealed on up the ladder. Eventually, the Supreme Court, whether it is 9 members or 90 members, I don't know what the idea Mr. Biden floated this week. And again, I sit back and I look at it, I go, oh, okay, they're not going to. But what he's talking about is changing the Constitution. And you need to remember that can't be done without you. There must be a convention of states. If you're going to change the United States Constitution, you got to get not only the 2/3 majority in D.C., you got to get the people of this country behind it as well. I don't see this happening. And it's sad in a way because I think that so many people are so worried about the motives behind the idea that they don't trust the idea. I'd actually be willing to sit down and talk about, 18 years, 20 years. Maybe that's enough to be a Supreme Court justice. Maybe we don't. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, probably the most recent example. She was well up there, had served for a long, long time. Maybe that's something we could have a conversation about. But because I have such distrust for the source of the conversation's origin, I refuse to have the conversation. The ethics oversight, I don't know if that would require any sort of constitutional issue or not. I think that's probably something that they're going to try to slip through as a non-constitutional issue. Yes? I'm getting a finger. I'm getting 3 fingers from the audience. But I think they're going to try to slip that through as a non-constitutional issue and let it be challenged in court. And again, we need the right courts, the right judges in order to come to the right conclusion. There have been too many things that have happened where you and me and Tom with the donut holes, we've sat back and we're like, there's no way. And then boom, it happens. We spent 10, 15 years now thinking there's no way. And it happens. Because we go on this ridiculous assumption that the people in our country share a love of country, a patriotism, common sense. No. Unfortunately, we are becoming fewer in number, and I'm sad to say in some cases outnumbered. So while I would think it would have to go through the same process as an amendment, I have a feeling they're going to try to sneak it through as and that goes hand in hand with the presidential immunity. I think they'll try to sneak it through in some other way to try to get it done, even if only long enough to limit current activities, even if only long enough to intimidate current candidates. But we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. You're so dead silent, and I'm not used to that because usually you're chiming in with something to tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, I think it's quite obvious what you're wrong about in this case.
And what, about having you in here with me?
Yes, that's the whole point. No, I don't have anything to disagree with, actually. So for once, we're in agreement.
All right. I have not talked to you about. We just talked a little bit out in the. But you never come up here to shoot.
No, this is the first time I've been here. Actually,
this is something else that I want to encourage. If you have not been here for the range, it is LEPD Firearms and Range and Training Facility. There's a lot going on around here aside from just the sales of the firearms and ammunition. And Eric's been getting some great deals, by the way, on bulk ammunition lately. But they've got a great range. Professionals who know what they are doing are up there to help you. If you come in here, the most dangerous person in the world on the range is the person who is sure they know everything they need to know. Those people always make me nervous. They're the ones who go, "Hey, some bullet jammed in here. You got a pencil on you?" No. And they're always standing next to you. So, the people here, you can actually say, "Hey, I've got a problem." And nobody laughs at you, frowns at you. They would much rather help you learn how to do things right and be safe than to judge what you don't know. And I've been to a few ranges before, and I think that's the standout quality of this range. You come here and you're first of all, you're treated well. You're appreciated. And your lack of knowledge, your openness to say, "I don't know," or "I've never done," or I don't think I can do, that, I'll tell you what, you want somebody who's going to sit with you and guide you through and help you find out what your abilities and limitations are. That's the kind of staff you've got here. These people actually know what they're doing, which is why I like the store so much. Across the way to my right, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you see the wall. But on the other side of the wall, big classroom where they do classes for people who want to learn the basics for themselves, home defense. There's security classes in there for a lot of people that are pursuing jobs in the security field. This is an all-encompassing store. This isn't like walking in some dingy pawn shop in a movie with John Travolta where he still had hair. This is it's Travolta did some gun stuff back when he had hair.
Urban cowboy?
Urban cowboy, he had hair, and he had a gun, and a nice hat.
I did have a nice hat.
But I told Eric this when he said, can you fill in while I'm not going to be there on Saturday? I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to talk about the store. I'm going to talk about the inventory. I'm going to talk about the staff. I'm going to talk about the stuff he doesn't. And I think a lot of that is just because he's, okay, I have to be honest about it. He's a little humble about that kind of thing. I mean, he knows his stuff, but he's not very braggadocious. And he's got such a great thing going here that I think you ought to take advantage of it, especially if you've not owned a firearm before. If you've not carried, but you're thinking, the world's got me kind of scared. Maybe I should. What kind of safe do I need? How do I secure my gun if I don't want a safe? How do I transport? All that kind of stuff. Just come in here, ask anybody behind any counter, and you'll get help. And again, I cannot recommend them highly enough. And the inventory is very strong right now, except for this doggone 380 bodyguard that I wanted to look at today. And you do have the sales tax holiday in place.
Well, I think the really important thing, because I know people who have thought about getting a gun or thought about concealed carry, but they're intimidated to go into a gun store. To have you say and other people say that the people here will take care of you, you shouldn't be intimidated, etc. Should be a good thing for people who might be scared about even going into a gun store.
First gun store / range that I ever went into doesn't exist anymore. But I'll tell you what, I walked in first dimly lit, which was odd, man. It was just. You walked in and you just felt like some guy in a trench coat could be leaning against a lamppost around the corner going, hey, bud, come here. It just felt weird. The smell of the gunpowder from the range was just overwhelming in the place. Everything was very, I don't know, dated, dark, and dirty. And that was the perception I had of what a gun store was.
That's what I had. I think a lot of them used to be that way.
I walked in here and I was very impressed. And I hear the audience out there going, I think he's talking about shh. I don't want to put a bad mouth on anybody, but you're right. So it just, I don't know. The feeling here is completely different. And you got a lot of regular customers even in here that probably know as much as some of the employees. And it is, it's kind of a communal place where you see the same faces and you get used to it. And if the Cheers theme was playing as you open the door, it would be appropriate. So come on in. LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road, and just ask your questions and do your thing. And I may even tag Zach up here on the range because I can't believe you never shot here. But
it should be fun. Yeah. It would be great to shoot with you.
No, you
just
shoot
you and me.
At me.
Oh, okay.
You said shoot at me when you were outside. That's a different matter.
Okay, sorry.
All right, before Ella gets evil, because we all know she can do that. We got to get into the final break here. Stand by. More of On Target coming up on 610 WTVN.
Info on.
"30 seconds till weather." Ten.
The store for details.
Your updated ABC 6 first warning weather forecast for the remainder of this Saturday. We're looking for a chance of isolated thunderstorms throughout the day and a high around 85. For overnight, for Sunday, sunshine and just a 10% chance of some storms during the course of the day. Expected high up to 91. Monday, 92 for the high. Partly cloudy skies and just a very slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm on Monday. Still holding at 79 right now at your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
News.
Producer Zach, and he just can't stop pushing buttons.
Well, you told me to come here because you can't carry a show by yourself.
That's
so
true.
I have to do it.
That's true. I need you. Hang on, I made myself a little nauseous thinking about that. Anyway, no, I do appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me. That was very nice. I tried to start each segment with news stuff, and this segment will be no different. This one, I consider to be a good story. Federal court dismisses negligent marketing claim against Daniel Defense. U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia dismissed the negligent marketing lawsuit that was filed by or against Daniel Defense. Judges found that the plaintiffs, Karen Lowy, Antonio Harris, who were wounded in an April 22, 2022 shooting at Edmund Burke School in Washington, D.C., did not have standing to bring the complaint. Failed to assert a claim that the claim did not fit into the exception allowed for the protection or under the protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, and the claims arose from criminal misuse of a firearm at the Edmund Burke School in Washington. Judge noted the plaintiffs failed to establish any allegation that the firearm advertising coerced the criminal to attack the elementary school. You know what? I'm sad I'm happy about this. Because I shouldn't be. This should be what I was talking about in the last segment, common sense. But is it still Winston Cup racing? We can't call it Winston Cup anymore. Joe Camel was abolished. We can't have everything is something else is somebody else's fault. I'm completely surprised by this decision. I'm happy about it, but I'm sad that I'm happy because it should just be mundane. It should just be mundane. The judge basically said that commercial didn't make anybody go shoot somebody, which you would think, yeah, we don't have to think about that. It's just, yeah, it makes sense. But, yeah, again, let's not forget, we got people suing McDonald's because they're fat. We got, every baby thing that's ever been invented is going to cause some kind of harm. There's an attorney advertising in the middle of the night that's willing to file a lawsuit. That's the world we live in. And congratulations to Daniel Defense. However, as I said before, don't get happy. Okay, this was dismissed not only because they said the marketing did not cause the shooting. However, it was also dismissed because the plaintiffs did not have standing according to the court. So somebody will come back that they find that, and they will find them, that the court will say does have standing, and they'll take a different direction. It's not over yet. This section is over. This moment is over. But this little piece of litigation hell for Daniel Defense is not over yet. You might be the one to sue.
Maybe I don't have very much money, so you never know.
You don't need money. The attorneys will take the case.
Well, fair.
I look forward to the coming week. I didn't talk about Columbus too much in here, as I was telling Zach off the air. The last thing I wanted to do really is make this a Saturday Power Hour. This is On Target. This is Eric and company's show. I'm kind of an ancillary guy. I love coming up here and hanging out and filling in. But this really is all about them and you and what's going on at a legal level that affects you, especially when it comes to your Second Amendment rights. A lot of people get radical. They get crazy. And I think that is in response to the radical craziness of the other side of the argument. There will always be those people out there who say, shall not be infringed. Okay. Infringement, I guess, is subjective. Most people, again, calling in that common sense, most people would probably agree you don't need a nuclear warhead in the basement. Okay? There is a limit to things just because of common sense. However, because the other side pushes so hard to say you don't deserve any of it, this side pushes back and says, then I deserve all of it. For the next, 94 days? 95 days? We will be having that argument a great deal. And you will lose friends, family members, neighbors, people that you work with. I'm urging you in the strongest possible but nicest possible way to control yourself. I know that it's going to be very easy to get indignant, to get angry, to pound the table and raise your voice and fight like a wildcat. Because you know what awaits on the other side of the November election if we don't go the right way. But somehow, some way, in every argument you have with every person you have, find a way to be the good guy. Don't let them call you the crazy one. Don't let them say you're some zealous gun nut. You just want too much. That's why we need to take them away, because of crazy people like you. Fight strong, but always be the good guy. Best advice I can give you. Time for me to pack up, wrap up, and get out of here. It's kind of Ed. Paul's name is Phil, and the guy who did this on Hill Street Blues was Phil. Okay. And Paul's not here to do it, but I'm old, so I get to do it. So I will thank you for being part of the show and remind you, hey, let's be careful out there.
We're proud to be the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Hi, this is Tim Dye with Upward Home Solutions. If you've been thinking about selling your home, this is the most important message you'll hear since before the pandemic. As you may know, we are the #1 home buyer in Columbus. We recently launched an exciting new program that is getting our home sellers thousands more for their home. Our customers love it. It still is